Hi, my name is Sally Bernard, an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer. Welcome to Call Me Zena, a true story into the spiritual realms. Join me as I sit and discuss the journey of self-discovery and awakening with the help of my spirit guides. It's time to trust your intuition. This is your inner knowings. Through questions and points of conversation, I can help others feel empowered. With the ability to touch people's past lives, I help others connect and not feel alone. Sit with me and call in live, 888-994-4995. Hi everybody, good afternoon. It's Monday at 2:30 and I'm very happy to have my husband sitting here right now to ask. He's here to ask me questions or to maybe just however it goes, we're here. But he's here. Let me introduce Steve. I'm sure at this point you all know who he is because we talk about him quite a bit. Hello, Steve. Hello.
Thank you for having me, Sal.
Okay, and so we're going to open up this up to the studio, see we've got many of my friends here, so without mentioning names, if they, please feel free to ask me any questions right now. I'm here to answer the questions. I'm opening it up.
Well, before we do that, listeners, you can call 888-994-4995, Studio A, or get in touch with Sally at Call Me Zena, 1111@gmail.com.
And I actually have to explain this. I am in a trance. I was in the process of going into a trance. I'm not always able to give the number out. People that watch my show are familiar with the fact that I'm not sure that I'm in the, I don't remember, but you're very aware of what's happening to me, so we'll go from there. That's why I'm unable to give the number out. Thank you. We're going to open it
I
up.
can get it started. We're getting closer and closer to your new book coming out, and there's been some really wonderful revelations, according to you, in the production of this new book. Is there anything that surprised you in the making of your new book, and what can we look forward to?
Yes, I think the fact that we came back, we just came back from a cruise and we went to London, which is my home. And the fact that I never, ever, it's amazing how many things happen, Steve. And as you know, we took a tour and I thought we were on the wrong bus. And I'm looking at the places in London, and I've been gone a long time. And I'm going, I don't seem to remember this. We had a whole map, and I'm going, how do I not remember some of the very well-known places in London? Then suddenly I said, oh my gosh, we're on the wrong bus. As you know, we're on the wrong tour. But it wasn't coincidence, because at that point, and you remembered where I used to live in London, it suddenly goes down the street that I was, and it showed my
place. Live, 55 Portland Place.
That's exactly right. So there is, and I often say this in my show, nothing is coincidental. We took the wrong bus, although I didn't know that. And you saw where I used to live, where I grew up. So many memories came back to me at that point. Yes, it was interesting, wasn't it?
It certainly was.
Mm-hmm.
Getting back to my original question, though, is there anything that you can share with us about the new book that will be coming out soon?
Yes, because it's a continuation of the book that I did many years ago, like 17, 18 years ago. I've learned a lot over the years, so it's a progression of where I've come from, of what I'm understanding. And most of all, and I have to bring this up because I think you was very surprised with what I said, I realized that I had been abducted many times. And I know you were, I think, as Freddie had told me, you were sitting in the studio when I actually first came out with this. And he said, oh my God, Steve couldn't believe what he was hearing. I see that I was abducted. I feel very comfortable about talking about it. I talked that I had astral projected many times, and many things where I had gone was in my first book. But I also see that I was abducted at that point. So.
What was the name of your new book?
Call Me Zena.
I mean, the birth one.
Call Me Zena.
They're all Call Me Zena, as you can see. I haven't changed the title. I've just changed a little bit of the content of the book, yes. Because I actually, over the last 18 years, I've come to realize how much I myself have grown, because I've listened to my guides, I've listened to what they're saying, And even having this show now for over a year, well, about a year now, I've learned so much myself. We're all on a journey, and I'm on my spiritual journey, and I'm learning a lot from it. So I'm
Sally?
open to any questions. As people
I
know that
just
are in
wanted
the
to
audience,
make a
I don't
comment.
like to know the questions beforehand. I'm in a trance, although people don't realize that, so please feel free to ask me any
And
questions.
Mindy has a comment.
Hi,
Can you
Mindy.
hear me?
Hi, yes, I can
Yeah?
hear you, Mindy.
Okay. Just about what you were saying with the abduction. My son said to me yesterday morning they had filmed a UFO over Fort Lauderdale. And he said, now they're coming to Fort Lauderdale. I said, they've always been in Fort Lauderdale, and they've always been everywhere. And as I left the room, I said, and so are ghosts. I like to make it matter-of-factly as part of our life. I just feel that way. And I think many people may not have memories, but they've been abducted or they've seen ghosts. And, you know, my son, he'll say, there was a ghost in that house. I say, there's a ghost in every house.
Uh-huh.
So I just wanted to make that comment, like, I think it's normal, and I hope that more people, as they open up to it, rather than each thing being devastating, we have an understanding that there's much more going on, and we can tap into it.
Thank you so much for that question, Mindy. And it's very important, I feel, that I spread this message. And with people like you are my friend, and we've shared a lot, as you know, even how we met. It's very important to know that there is so much more. And I feel that we're opening up to so much more right now. It's the time to actually come forward with this. I had gone 18 years before I actually explained that I had been abducted. I thought it was just astral projection, which to me was something amazing, but it was much more than that. And thank you for sharing that. I feel that there is so much more. And if I can open people's mind a little bit to just believe that maybe there's something more than just what we have in this physical life here, I'm doing my job that I'm meant to do right now. Thank you.
And you know, you were talking about astro travel. And before we started the show, we were talking, everybody seemed to have a travel story. And so I said, let's stay, I like that theme. And you also were changing the show from a little less universal, or I'm sure it'll flow and ebb at different times. But I wanted to ask if you pick up for me personally any travel, because I would love to travel this beautiful country.
Okay, we are what we feel that we should do, Mindy. So just know that, yes, you are meant to travel. You are meant to travel, I think, mainly in America, because it is a beautiful country, and we sometimes lose track of that. You're very aware of that. You are going to be able to travel. It's what you're meant to do, and I feel that you should go with, if something happens, or let's say that you see something. I'm hearing Facebook for some reason, that you see somewhere that you would like to go. Please go with that, even if it's just a few days. It's your time now to wake up to everything, because you are there. The fact that we met each other and we know how we met, which was pretty amazing, that it is your time. It's your time to go, okay? Does that make sense to you?
I like that answer. I don't see an opportunity, but
You will. You will, Mindy, you will.
thank you. Good.
You have a lot of things going on. I know that too, but you know what? It'll all fall into place with you. I feel that very strongly. Just go with your intuition, because you have a tremendous amount of knowing, and you know that. I don't want to say, I feel that it's knowing, because that's what I relate to, and you can relate to this. Go with your instinct, okay? And there is travel in that. Okay?
Do you think the instincts are put in? In
Are
other
what?
words, if something is meant to happen, do you think the guides put the longing for it in ahead of time, but they already know? Because there's so many subjects we could be longing for. Jewelry, a campfire. Like all of a sudden I'm longing for travel. So is that put in me because it's already predestined?
It's predestined, absolutely. And I'm feeling that as we're talking. Yes, the traveling is there. I mean, you may say to yourself, but I'm trying to get, whatever you're doing with your business, and it's going to be successful. Absolutely, you are successful, and you will continue to be. But there is travel in that, Mindy, absolutely. And you are getting messages from that, so follow your intuition. I mentioned that a lot. Just know that what you're hearing is what is meant to happen, okay? You're meant to travel right now. You're meant to you are understanding, but you're meant to see the places that you're meant to be going to. It's like we map out our lives, and you're mapping out your lives, but you're in contact with that right now. You see where you're going. Please follow your intuition. It's very important.
So urges can be sometimes premonitions. So,
Absolutely,
yeah.
100%. Go with what you're feeling. You're on the right track, Mindy.
Somebody
Definitely.
famous once said, "The world is a book, and those who do not travel only read one page."
I love that. I love that. I love it.
Phone calls.
I have a phone call. Okay, hi, phone call.
They're gonna put it through.
Please do. Hello? Who is calling me?
Well, it's not through.
You have them on the phone?
Well, hello, whoever this is. I don't know who to call you by name, but please give me your question. Is there a question coming through, Dawn?
I'm waiting to find out. All right, keep going until they come through.
Okay, fine. Any questions more in the studio? We'll open up to the studio. Anybody in the studio that wants to ask me something? Or Steve? You're with me a lot?
Someone you said I had a guide with me, with an F.
With a,
Frederico or Frederica.
okay, this is personally for you, Dawn. Yes, I am actually hearing from Frederico. It's a man, although everybody is telling me it may be a woman, but I feel that it's a man. They've got your back. That's all I need to tell you, okay? I think you may know what that is. So whatever you feel that you're doing right now, talk to them because they're listening, okay? That's very important. So just know that I said that to
Do
you.
you see what they look like?
It's an older man. I say older, I would say it's someone in their late 70s. They passed in their 70s, but they're showing themselves to me as 70. You will know who it is, although right now it may be a little bit jumbled and you're not sure, but wherever your first instinct goes with this person, they are with you, Dawn. It's very important. They have your back. That's all I need to tell you. So whatever you're thinking or whatever you're thinking about, they are with you and they will continue to help you. Okay?
Do we have a phone call? Question?
Well, when we were on the trip that you were speaking about before, when we were in France, I was wondering if you got any special feelings because I know that a part of your way back life may have had to do with France.
Absolutely, and I'm going to include Dawn in this conversation, Dawn. It was very important. I feel that it wasn't my lifetime that I can relate to, but I also feel that previously in a lifetime that wasn't that long ago, we were all in France. And I want to mention Dawn, I want to mention you. We were in the entertainment business, which I had talked about, and I feel very strongly about this. We were in France, we were at the Moulin Rouge, and as you know, and you can tell me that this is what's happening, we often hear La Vie en Rose, so I know that you relate to that, okay? This is not coincidental. I feel very strongly about this. So I was in the entertainment business prior to the life that was very important to me in the 15th century.
I think I hear your phone caller.
Okay, hi, phone caller. Who is it?
Say hello.
Hello? Hello? I don't have a name, but do you have a question?
I just hear them on the other side, but they're not saying anything.
Okay, let's open it up maybe to the studio because we're going to be able to get more questions. Anybody in the studio that wants to ask me a question, please do so.
I'll ask a question. Hi.
Hi, hello.
Can you tell me anything about my love life?
Okay, I think you have the answers to that, okay? I feel that there is someone either going to be in your life or is already in your life. but it's up to you to let them in. Does that make sense to you? I think that you're on, like, we put a guard up around us, okay, which I feel that you're doing, but you've either just met this person or they're there. Let your guard down a little bit, if that makes sense to you. Please do so. From whatever happens, sometimes we go back to what happened to us before and we say, I don't want this situation to happen again. It's not going to. I believe that this person that's either in your life or is coming into your life, I'm not sure, let your guard down. Does that make sense to you? Please let your guard down, okay? That's my message, and it's coming through very strongly for you.
How do we come up with a way to find extra monies to pay our producers that are in school?
Okay. Just know that you can. Believe that you can. Whatever we put out into the universe, and this is, I know it sounds ridiculous, and I say this many times, but it works. Just know that you can do this, Dawn. You're the beginning of something that's going to happen that's going to be very big. And I've said this to you before in the studio here. So whatever you need is going to be there and available for you. So all you need to do is ask. It's as simple as that. Just say, hey, I need the money or whatever it is to continue with what I'm doing to make this something really big. It'll happen. You're there. You're right on the very edge of this, okay? Just go forward with what you believe and what you know that you can do, and it will happen. Positivity, and that's my, I talk a lot about positivity, but it's really important in our lives today. Just know that you can achieve anything that you want if you believe it.
Not to make you sad, but I know we're here at the 1-year anniversary of the loss of your beautiful daughter.
Right.
And I was wondering if you've been getting any new particular messages from Louise. I know several times we've seen license plates with her initials, which have not been a coincidence because we were talking about her. Anything stronger because we're at the 1-year mark?
Thank you so much for bringing that up. And of course, it's going to bring tears to my eyes because I feel very, very connected with her. But I feel that it is the anniversary, and I feel that I want to say this to everybody. It's the anniversary of my daughter passing. I feel that she's around me. She's understanding so much more, that she's in a happier place, and she's talking to me, which is very important. I excuse myself for crying because it is a sad subject, but it's nearly the anniversary of her death. And I actually do want to say that I am there with you, Louise. I feel that she's with me. And Dawn, as you know, you have mentioned many times that the daisies that you feel that she's giving you, we went on a tour and I saw the daisies in that tour. So I know she's with me, and I know that you also have suffered a loss with your son, Steve,
Yes.
but I feel that they're there together with us.
Her name was Louise.
Louise.
That's my mom's middle name.
Okay.
So I feel like she's here too.
Okay, thank you for mentioning that. I appreciate that. And I feel that, our loved ones don't leave us, okay? I mean, it was tragic that my daughter died. I never expected that, and I don't want to cry, but I believe they just transition, okay? So I feel that she's very strongly with me on this program, and I have the help of everybody in this studio, especially Dawn, who tells me that she feels that she's very much around me with the daisies that you mentioned, Dawn. So it's sad for us, but it's not necessarily sad for them on the other side, and that's what I do want to emphasize. And the fact that you brought this up, they don't want us to mourn their death. They want us to mourn, not mourn, but to say, okay, they're okay today, they're with us. The more that we mourn us, the more they stay around. They need to go to other places in their lives. And as Steve, as you know too, if you don't mind me bringing up your son who also passed, they're there with us and they're celebrating the fact that we're talking about them. And I know that you feel very strongly about that, Steve.
I do.
Sally.
We both have lost a child.
I just wanted to have a question and a comment. Your daughter passed a year ago, And your life has extremely changed in that year, and so have you. How much do you think energies on the other side of our loved ones affect us? Is it just a shift when they leave? Is it their hand from the other side? Do they have any effect? I see a total transformation in you, in your circumstances as well.
Mindy,
and I
thank
just
you.
wonder. Yeah.
100%. My daughter is with me. She's here to say, okay, do this, do this. I mean, it's only what I feel, but I have so much validation, as you can talk about it too, Steve, that we get. I feel that your son and my daughter are together. They want us to pursue this. It's so very, very important. Yes, it's sad for us, but if we know that they are there rooting for us to continue with this, it's very important for us to know this. And yes, over this last year, my life has certainly taken a different direction. I mean, I've had the worst part of my life and the happiest part of my life within this year since my daughter passed. I lost my daughter. I got married to you. Is this coincidental? No, I don't believe it is. It's to show us that we continue to live here, but they continue to give us messages. And it's very important for people to know that. You know, people that have had a loss, and I can relate to that completely, which is part of what I'm talking about right now. But they live on too. They live on, they want us to be happy. They want us to be grounded here, to know that they have passed, but please don't just continue with their memory, which is really important. Not maybe the sad times of their passing. Yes, that happened, but they don't want us to remember that. Can you relate to that a little bit?
Yes, I can. And as you know, I have a piece of clothing that I kept of his, and I've been wearing that piece of clothing more lately. It's because I want to feel the attachment and the connection.
And I did not know, just to tell our viewers that are listening, you said to me, can I tell you what that piece of clothing was? And as far as I know, I went into your closet, right? And I picked out the actual shirt that you
absolutely did.
Yes, absolutely. So they want us to be happy. It makes them happy. They don't want to, we keep them, the more we mourn them, we keep them more here. They want to go on and do their things, but they also want us to know that we're happy too. It's very important for them to know that. So anybody that's listening that may have lost a loved one, recognize that they were here, that we enjoyed their life, but let them go. Let them know they're around us, but please let them go. It's very, very important. Otherwise, with many sayings of what we hear, that they're earthbound, but that is true to an extent. They don't want to leave this earth because they want to make sure we're all right. So my message today, since it's taken this kind of questioning here, is to know that they are okay and say, okay, enjoy where you are now and we will be all right. Just take the memories of their life and celebrate it. It's important.
Yes.
When you talk to them, is that letting them go?
Yes, thank you. That is absolutely letting them go. They know that you're able to hear them. That's important. We say, well, how do we hear them? But just, it's an intuition that we have, that we can hear them and say, okay, thank you for being with me. Go do what you need to do. They don't leave you, but let them know that you are acknowledging them and that they can go on with where they're going to in another place. It's just a different dimension as far as I know.
I've never missed one night since my husband passed away, and it's been over 2 years, without talking to him in my prayers. And I'm just wondering if that's keeping him. I mean, you know, because I want him to, I know he hears me, but I don't want that to be like not letting him go.
Okay, let him go where he is going. Just say that you accepted that he is gone, but he hasn't gone from you. He's still with you. Okay, that's very important for you to know that. But just like you have to continue because we are here, so you continue in this dimension, doesn't mean you're going to forget him. By all means, don't. Never talk to him. He's listening to you. But you are in different dimensions right now. You will be together, but right now you are where you're meant to be. If this makes sense to you, he is where he's meant to be. But it doesn't mean that you've left each other. I hope that helps you. He wants me to tell you that, okay?
Thank you.
Hi, Sally.
Hi.
I want to know, is there any messages from Ishmael, my guide?
There's always messages. You know that I gave you that name, okay? He's telling me don't take what you're hearing right now too seriously. There's something going on in your life, okay? This is very important. He's with you. But what is happening is that you needn't take this so seriously. The outcome of what you think may be happening, you can change that outcome. Does that make sense to you in any way?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so change it. Your thought process is what's very important. What you think is going to happen. You have the ability, just like any of us, it's not just us, we have the ability to change what's happening. So give it good vibrational energy, what's going on. It's very important. He's telling me it's very, very important. What is going on in your life right now, please give it good vibrational energy. It will have the right outcome for you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank
Does
you.
that help you?
Yes, it does.
Good.
Wanna take a commercial break?
Okay, we're about to take a commercial break. I have problems bringing myself back. Steve, can you actually mention what's happening, please?
Yes, we're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, please call 888-994-4995, Studio A.
And don't hang up.
And don't hang up, right.
Thank you. This world, this life, this illusion. What is going on, we ask? What is happening? Why not take time and see what is happening? This world as we know it, it seems so real and yet so far away from where we've come. Corruption, greed, anger, power, revenge. Please wake up. We can change what is around us. How, we may ask? Learn to go back to where we were. Then we will have the clues. Then we can change and go forward. Please take the time. Do not fall into the game which we have put upon ourselves. We can change. We can make a difference. We have the power, each and every one of us. Go in peace. Go with love. Go as one. Zena.
A true story, Call Me Zena is the telling of Sally Bernard. Born in London, England at the end of the Second World War, she came to the U.S. in 1979. A mother of two and grandmother of four, she settled in Florida and worked in real estate. While going through a difficult time in her life, she was admitted into a hospital overnight in December of 2005. While settling back into her life, she began having vivid dreams and documenting them. By the third dream, a lady gave her a message to draw. With no artistic background or interest in art or history, Sally listened to her dreams and grabbed paper and crayons. Today, she has over 150 pieces of inspiring art and poetry. This book follows her journey and interpretations of these messages. She describes in detail how she's able to astral project and who she has met along her travels, including her spirit guides. This book will show you how anything is possible with an open mind. These events have changed Sally's life's direction, and this book will show you how to change yours. Purchase Call Me Zena on Amazon today.
You have been watching Call Me Zena with your host, Sally Bernard. As an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer, know that you could always seek me out for resources. Visit artbysallybernard.com today. Now, back to the show. Hi, we're back. Okay, I actually had this opportunity right now to talk to Steve to say, I feel that what I have right now is really important. So if you'd like to ask me a question of what's going on right now.
Yes, and I know how important this is to you in getting the message across. And please share with your audience how important it is and why it's important.
Okay, I'm glad that which we had talked about, that I need to say that what my message is important. It's important for people to open up a little bit. Hopefully my show is doing that, to just believe that anything is possible. It's so important for me too to know that whatever I think can come about. And if I can just give however many people are listening, just to know that what you think can happen. We are our thoughts. That's basically what I want to feel today. I mean, if we go into negativity, we bring in more negativity. I talk a lot about positivity, as you know, but it's so important to be positive. It's really important to be positive.
And what do you think connects people's thoughts, like with you and I at home, at least 6 or 8 times a day? We're thinking the same thing and we blurt out the same thing, or we scratch our cheek at the same time. What causes that?
You know what? I'm stuck with that. I don't understand it, but I know that it happens. It's incredible. I say to you very often, I could be scratching my head and I look over and you're scratching your head. I don't know right now the answers to that, but I know that there is an answer to that. It's pretty incredible, isn't it? It really is. And we can attest to that. I mean, we do very similar things. I seem to be able to read your mind as you are able to read my mind. It's, I don't know yet.
Well, there's something that I've never asked you, and we've been together about 1.5 years, married 6 months, or more than 6 months. But I don't think I've ever asked you if you see a guide around me and who that might be.
Okay, I'm glad that you brought that up. And since I haven't actually told you, but you do have, as we all do, Steve, many guides. And I know that you know that. There is one particular guide that is guiding you. And again, I'm going to bring my guide in, which is Aldo, who materialized himself in this physicality here. He's telling me to tell you that you have someone around you all the time, okay? I'm getting a name. We'll come back to the name. I'm only as good as my question, and I'm not quite sure what the name is, but you have actually somebody guiding you, very much so. We don't often talk about your son that has transitioned, but he's very aware that we are together, and he's actually in contact with the guide that is guiding you, because when we transition, we're at different stages in where we left off. So he is on a learning process. I know we don't talk much about that, but I want to let you know that Scott, your son, is learning, as my daughter is too. And they just want to be aware that we also have guides that are able to give us the messages. They may not be able to, but guides can. So I can talk to somebody here that can hear, and they're able to interpret it. So they're telling you that this guide is giving you messages, and it's through them. They're asking, "Are you okay?" And they're able to interpret the message.
Is it at all? Yeah, it does. Is it at all possible, though, that Aldo, although I never met him in life, could possibly be my guide as well? I mean, I do talk to him.
And he was my guide, as you know, for people that listen to my show. He was with me for 18 years and talked to me and explained so much to me. If you're part of my life, he is part of that whole process. He is my guide. We have certain people that we know that are guides, but that means that he's in contact with you too. And we met 23 years ago, but it wasn't our time at that point, and he's very aware of that. So he comes to you very often, as you know. So he's here for you too.
Sally, I can attest to Aldo showing up in my kitchen, in my car once. Yes, if you're involved with Sally, he makes some guest appearances. But you said something that I loved, and I very often think to myself, and that was, I don't know the answer, but I know there is one. And I think that exact words, but also what it means is, I know these things that are happening are important and have a meaning. I just don't know what it is. Like constantly seeing multiple of the same numbers, where my head just shakes, and I'm like, really? I look up, I look at the clock on the way into the bedroom, 111. I just can't look at anything that doesn't have multiple numbers. And I say, I know that it means something, but I don't know what.
just know that what they're telling me, Mindy, is that you are on the right track. It's their way of validating whatever you may be thinking about at a certain time. You say to yourself, I really don't have the answers, but you know what? The answers are there. You can see a number that'll come up. They're validating that. And you know, I actually have to share with the audience what happened to us the other day. You called me. You didn't particularly want to disturb me because you thought maybe I'm busy. Should I call Sally? Should I not? But you know what gave me the greatest pleasure? You called me and you said that you just heard Mustang Sally on the radio. How wonderful
Well,
is
as
that?
I'm
Okay?
arguing in my mind, don't bother her. Then it came on and I had to give in.
Absolutely, because they will not leave us alone.
That's
I mean, I'm
true.
happy. There may not necessarily even been a message, but it was just maybe I needed to hear from you, or you needed to hear from me at that particular time.
Or they
But
wanted
they knew
us,
that.
or maybe it could have been Aldous, or the guides just wanted it to take place at that moment because they wouldn't let up. Yeah.
That's right.
I love
So-
that. That was an easy one for me to figure out.
Yeah, absolutely, Mindy. And you know, we share that. We've had many messages together, both you and I, and how we even met, which was amazing. They don't let us go.
Well, that was similar because you listened.
Yeah.
If you were told to go to a different salon, you listened.
I did.
love when I submit and listen. You know?
Absolutely. To just recoup a little bit about our story, because I think it's very important, Mindy, for us to share this. Mindy is my hairdresser. I had gone to a hairdresser for many years, and suddenly I'm driving my car and about to go to the hairdresser because I'm very good, and as you know, I stay with the same person, but something told me go somewhere else, and I'm going, but I have used this particular hairdresser for 3 or 4 years. But I listened,
Yeah.
and it took me to your salon, right? Where you were. I go in, I had never met you, I sit down, and you say to me, you actually knew who I was. You said you're an artist, and we continued with our story, and suddenly I told you my story, which related very much to your story from nowhere. I didn't know this place, and you said to me, there are a few of us here. To me, I said, what do you mean there's a few of us? There's a few of us that understand it. And from then onwards, we shared our experiences, and it was pretty amazing, Mindy.
Yes,
if you want to continue
it led
with
to
that a
many
little bit.
things since then.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we listen. The most important thing that I think we need to take from that is that listen to your intuition. I'm driving to a hairdressing shop that I didn't even know existed, and I'm sitting there, and we've become best friends over the last 3 years. And your story relates very much to my story with the outer body and experiencing so many
Oh,
things.
that's
that we've had.
amazing. It's
How
very
does that
rare
happen?
that you find someone, you know,
How
that
does
had
that
a
happen?
similar story like ours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. So we know, but let's pass that message on to people that don't, maybe thinking, could this happen? Yes, we know that it happened.
But
How
could
does
you
that-
have refused that day and not gone? How strong was the urge?
Oh, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I basically said to my car, drive me to this salon where I didn't know it was going to be you, but I knew I had to go somewhere. My car literally drove me there. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but that's what happened.
Hey, Sally.
Hi.
I wanted to know, you can see how many past lives I had?
Ah, okay. You've had plenty, okay? This is not coincidence that we're here together talking about this. You've had many, but there are maybe 3 or 4 that are very significant that you are beginning, although you may not know it, you're beginning to remember, okay? So take from maybe in a dream or something that you may hear that is very relevant to this particular lifetime. You're getting a lot of messages, and you know that. I think you know that, right? Go with your intuition, which I talk a lot about. You will not go wrong. You're on the right track, as long as you believe that. And I'm telling you, please believe that,
Yes, ma'am.
okay?
Thank you.
Mindy brought up numbers before, and you know, before we met, they had no significance to me. But the numbers 1111 in particular, and that's in your email address, and There's a very monumental day in my life. That was November 11th, 11/11. Where do these numbers come from, and why do they hit us in the face like that?
For us to understand and wake up to what may be going on, I kept seeing, before I realized what I actually was beginning to understand, I kept seeing the numbers 11/11, and this was maybe 20 years ago. And I would wake up, I would go to bed maybe at 10:30, I'd sit up in bed and see 11/11. So it was like they were knocking me on the head, just like they did with my art. And it became that, what is this going on with 11/11? And to just bring this into perspective here, there's a whole book about 11/11. I can't go into the show right now. Maybe we'll do another show on this. It's a very significant number, as you know too, because 11/11 was very important to you. So anybody that comes to me and says, what does 11/11 mean? I say, okay, listen, it's for us to wake up. We're getting messages. I mean, there are other numbers, but 11/11 is very dear to me.
11/11 has been popularized in a commercial on television, and it says the signs are all around us.
Yes, absolutely. Now, I knew about this 20 years ago. I'm not saying, oh my God, I knew about it before everybody knew, but just to me, it was validation that these numbers were really important. It's to show us that we are on the right track, to listen and look to see what other things may happen. Just as you know from that commercial on TV, you did not know about it, Steve, and yet you knew when it rang a bell to you when I said 11/11, right? So
Yes.
it's important.
Sally, is it important not only to get a message, but sometimes it's a cluster of messages that come together to give you a better description of journey?
It gives us a better description of what's going on. Maybe it could be one message, and we don't necessarily open up to the fact that there's a message, but when it keeps repeating ourselves, Freddie, it's an important part of what's going on in our journey here. We're on a journey. We're on a lifetime right now that is a journey. So if something keeps repeating itself, we may not always listen, but if we hear it again and again, take note of what you're hearing. It's really important.
But what if you give somebody a message and it doesn't make any sense? And then you wait until a second message comes along. I don't think, from what I've seen in my life, especially recently, it's a cluster. There's like a multiple of messages, not just one. And you got to be cognizant of that.
You absolutely, and what you're saying is absolutely true. It's like somebody can tell you something, but if they keep telling you or you're hearing from other people, it's an important message. We need to listen to that. We may not always see it right away, but if you hear it again and again, it's something that we need to wake up to. This is an important message. That's how they can communicate with us from the other side. They'll keep repeating that particular thing. It might be a different scenario, and I've talked about this before, but overall, it's the same message. So we need to listen. It's very important for us to listen, because it's not that they know what's going on in our lives. And I've talked a lot about free will, as you know that too. We don't always have to follow it, but it helps us understand a little bit more of what's going on if it keeps repeating itself. So in answer to your question, listen when you keep hearing it. It's an important message.
Sally, do you think the more we listen, the more messages we get?
Well, we're more in tune, Mindy. I started this many years ago, but because I'm doing this show and many things are taking me in this direction, I'm understanding more. So I think I'm getting more messages because I listen more. So it's like, you know, if you have somebody that's interested in this, like even in this particular lifetime, and they want to hear more, we talk more. They do that on the other side too. They feel like I'm only a messenger here to give the result of the messages that I feel that I'm receiving. but they're aware that I can do that. So let's say that I'm channeling through them because they know, so they're going to give me more messages. Can we all do this? Actually, we all do have the ability, we just don't know. The most important part of this is to believe that they are talking to us, because it's like if you're my friend here in this particular lifetime and you say, I don't want to know, you know what? You're not going to listen to the messages that you're getting. But when you wake up to that, just like I get messages from people here, I'm getting messages from the other side. I'm here to tell you that they're trying very hard to communicate with each and every one of us. So wake up to that if you can. It may not be your time, but they are here to help us. Everybody that we have known from past lives or our guides are here to help us here in this particular lifetime, or any lifetime actually.
And do you think they come in on a certain frequency? The way somebody can learn to listen to music or an instrument, I couldn't tell if something is off, or, I don't know how to listen to music in an experienced way. But as life has gone on and I learned to listen to spirit, they have their own patterns and it starts to become more and more obvious. And I'm wondering if I'm opening maybe to a frequency also at the same time that I'm learning.
You are absolutely. It's a channel. It's like, I've talked about this before on the airways. We have AM and FM. If we tune in and they're aware that we're tuning in, we are going to hear. The most important part of this is to believe that they are communicating with us. And if you tune into that, it's like a frequency that we're tuning into, so we're going to hear. It's like on a radio or a TV. Explain that. I don't understand how the airways work, but I tune into something and I can hear it. I may tune into something and I go, oh my gosh, I can relate to that. It's like they're telling me to tune into that particular program or that particular song. As you can attest to this, how many times do we hear a song that we relate to? Because they're showing us tune in to that. All we need to do to make this simple is tune in. Tune in. They're there to help us.
The countless number of times you've asked Aldo for a sign, and then a very significant song will come on the radio pertaining to your life.
Absolutely, because that's how they can tune into us. It's harder maybe if we're not aware of it to hear it, but if we ask for something, let's say I want to hear, I talk to Aldo all the time, as you know. I turn on my radio and I say, let me know you're here. He'll give me a song. It'll come on the radio that we can relate to. How can we ignore that? How does that happen? Out of all the songs on the radio, we hear the song that we can relate to. They're able to do that. We are able to do that with them. The most important, please believe that they're trying to communicate with us. That's the most important. Once we open up to that, it opens up so much more.
And I suspect that there's a large percentage of the people around the world who never open themselves up to those possibilities. Is that correct?
Absolutely, 100%. It's only a small percentage of people that do this. Hopefully, with my show or wherever I'm going from here, is to tell people, please try to open up. Believe that it is accessible to us. Believe that there is more than what we see here. Many aspects of that. It can take many different roads, but the main thing is to believe that there's more than what we are just here. They're trying to communicate. But on the other side too, they also have to open up to this possibility. As far as what I know, they're not sure that we can hear. I'm an instrument right now and I'm giving the messages. I'm telling you that they're trying to communicate.
Sally, do you think they speak in a sort of different language of numbers and music? Because I see patterns the way spirit will speak. Like my mom died 4/27, my birthday 7/24. Very rare that I can get a receipt in a store without that sequence. And I wonder if they have a certain language that repeats itself, universally maybe, or even maybe personally, and it speaks in numbers and music and signs of a particular type. And we have to learn that new language. maybe we're not as familiar with how spirit speaks.
That's a great question, Mindy, and thank you for that. I don't have all the answers to that, but just know what we can relate to. They know that I relate to the numbers 11, 11, 22, 44, whatever it may be. So they will show that. They're able to, without saying that they can read our minds with everything, they're able to communicate with what we know that we can we communicate with each other. So I believe in the numbers. I believe very much in these numbers. I believe that if I'm in a certain place, I always say this is not coincidental. Going back to our trip to London, we took the wrong bus, and yet it passed where I used to live. So it wasn't the wrong bus. So it's very subtle what they tell us. But the main thing is believe they're trying to communicate, because they can. It's up to us to receive that message the way that we can interpret it. So we can talk just like I'm talking to you right now. Say, okay, give me a number. Show me something that I can relate to. And I can honestly say, because it's happened, you've seen that happen, that it'll show up. Aldo, my guide that was here with me for 18 years, has passed. But he knew my triggers, and he knew that if I turned the television on, if I wanted to speak to someone that had passed away, he said to me, just ask, because he was very aware of what was going on. He understood that. You will hear it on the television. I did. I got my answer from the television. So just know that it is possible. Just open up to know it's possible. They are trying to communicate with us, and they will.
I have a question. Before my husband passed away, and I knew where he was going to go. I told him to drop money on the floor, and I've read that somewhere, that if you find money, that it can happen, like pennies from heaven or whatever. And I remember getting a lot. He didn't believe it, but I remember getting a lot of like quarters and dimes and nickels, like maybe for a couple of months. They were just not all the time, but a lot. I think is that any?
Yes, that's an indication that he's communicating with you, Sandy. Just know that he's doing that, because he knows that, they know our triggers, okay? I know that my guide knew my triggers. He knows that you're aware of that. So you are, even if it's just a penny, it doesn't have to be a whole lot of money.
Right.
But it's nice if it is, but it doesn't have to be. If you look down and you see a penny, we have that expression, pennies from heaven.
Right.
They do that for us. They know that we understand that, because we've heard that somewhere. It's important.
That happened a lot when my son passed. I was finding coins. My cousin Linda was finding coins. My
Really?
daughter was finding coins. Yes, it's
I felt
a
like
very prevalent thing that happens.
Not a lot, but a dime here, a quarter here. I just kept hearing things drop.
And I'm told that if you find them with the heads up, it even has a deeper meaning, but I'm not sure of that. I'm not sure of the validity of that.
I'm getting my coughing out.
Take a sip.
Thank you. I have this sometimes. I think they tell me that I've said enough.
The way that I read the numbers, so I was getting 33 a lot, like constantly. So I started signing my artwork 33. And the way I read 33 is it's confirmation of the last thought that I had. So if I'm thinking, maybe I should buy a new car, and the license plate in front of me is 33, it's like, okay, buy a new car. And so it happens all the time, every day. And part of the way that I believe this happens for all of us is if we're not too busy. When we're running and going and doing, we can't get anything. But when we're mindful and in the moment, we can see a lot that we wouldn't normally see. Well, the proof of that was about a year ago, I received a picture from one of my sons from when they were 6 and 8. They're now 36 and 38. And they were in cereal box Halloween costumes, and I was standing in front of them, and they were wearing their costumes. And I looked at it, very cute. And then that night, I enlarged it. And on one of my son's shoulders was a number 33. And I thought, my mother died a long time ago. Have I been getting 33 for 30 years, and I just wasn't aware of it until 5 years ago. There are no coincidences. That was a sign. So whenever I get a 33, which is uncanny, you know, you missed a phone call at 8:33. When I look up from meditating, it's 9:33. It's consistent, and I try and think, well, what was I just thinking of? Because they, he, she, it, God is telling me that's confirmation.
Absolutely, and you, because you're aware of it now, you've probably been getting it for years, as you said. But when you become aware of it, you see how many times it's happening.
It's
because
wonderful.
you know why? They're aware that you're aware of it. And that's all I need to tell you about that. They're aware that you're aware of it. So you're going to see it. For me, it was 1111. For somebody else, it might be whatever number it is. But the fact that we become aware of it, they know we're aware of it. So maybe you're going to ask a question, should I do this or whatever it is you're not
I don't
sure?
usually ask the
You'll see them?
questions,
Yeah.
but I don't often hear from my mom in a dream or anything. Now, today I did Louise,
Okay, there you go. That
but
was
I've started to think that I do hear from her all the time, and she might be 33. And she was the one who put me in a cereal box costume when it was Halloween. I just thought of that. When it was Halloween, when I was a little kid, and I used that for my kids. So 33 must be my mom.
Thank you for bringing that up, because it will help people that may be listening to this that see a recurring number. Mine was very dear to me at 1111, which was many, many years ago. But we all have whatever the number may be. It doesn't have to be 1111.
My
But
son sent me last night 1111 because he knows I'll make a wish.
there you go. It's the fact that it could be a whole program on 1111, but any particular number that is repetitive, it's that we're opening up to that. So just like voice it, say, you know what, show me the number that you may relate to, and then you'll suddenly see it. Might be the time of the day, or you'll see it in something that you're reading, an article. They're able to do that.
Anything. It could be
Yeah.
deciding to see a certain doctor, and in his phone number is 933.
Exactly. It could be a license plate on a car. It could be anything.
And
that
as
will
Sally
lead you
often
to-
speaks about, these things are called validation.
It's
I call it
validation.
confirmation.
It's confirmation of
Burton
validation.
is the one who told me, oh, confirmation.
That's
Or when
exactly
we're
right.
in the middle of a prayer or something, and there's a noise, that's confirmation.
Exactly.
Sally and I call them naturalies.
Naturally, I like that.
And when my guide was here, I'd go, I can't believe this. He would turn around and say, it's to be expected. Oh
Do
my
you
gosh.
see any guides or anybody coming in for me at this time?
You're surrounded by them. Just know that they are there with you. I can't see any particular name, but I can see that you, because you're aware of it, they are with you. They never leave you. They leave us just like we may have a friend, but any time that you want something, call upon them, okay? I get names. I'm not getting a particular name right now, but I think you're aware of a name, actually, of somebody. I'm getting the name Priscilla or something. I'm not. Does that mean anything to you? I'm sorry, Dawn. Yes. Oh, we have 2 more minutes. Okay, to just continue with. Just know that. Speak to them, and I've told people.
What I think is that I've lost pretty much everybody except for my 2 sons, thank you God. And I think because of that, I get much more good stuff, protection, answers, coincidence, all the time. And so my friends are blessed because they have earthly love. I think I'm blessed because I have heavenly love.
You have heavenly love. And I feel the name Priscilla is coming through very strong. You may not know who that is right now. It could even be someone from a previous life. But there is a Priscilla around you.
My nanny's growing up a whole story. Her daughter was Priscilla.
Okay. Has her daughter passed, or is
Oh, a long time ago.
Okay, Priscilla is around you. I'm getting that very, very strongly. You know, I can give
Wow.
someone a name, and sometimes they say, oh, I don't relate, but then they may call me or tell me, you know what, now I know who it is. Priscilla is around you, definitely. Okay? You need not necessarily being close to or know that person in this particular life.
They're around
But they are around, okay? She is here, okay? We have 1 more minute. Any question, 1 minute question? Steve?
No.
any-
Just that if you wish to contact Sally, call me Zena, 1111@gmail.com, and tune in again every Monday at 2:30.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Bye-bye for now.
Coincidence or not, it's time to trust your intuition and knowings. Thank you for joining me through this journey of self-discovery and awakening with the help of my spirit guides. I'm Sally Bernard, and you can find my book, artwork, and contact through artbysallybernard.com. Join us next week. This has been Call Me Zena.